We have Clint Savage, who is the president and founder of the Utah Open Source Foundation. Clint started his career as a software engineer. He's been using Linux since 1998. He started with Red Hat 4.2. And then in his bio says later in life, he accidentally discovered the joys of training. I don't know what joys those are, but I'm sure they're good. And has been doing that ever since. You work at Google Labs, right?
Yep.
Clint's been an instructor for the past 4+ years and teaches such topics as Linux fundamentals and system administration. So we're really happy to have him here tonight, and I'd like to turn the time over to him. Clint.
So I was here yesterday. We were testing the audio, and for those of you who don't know right now, we're actually recording this live on the stream, out on stream.utosf.org. If you're interested as well, you can also get on the IRC channel and pound Utah/meeting, and you can ask questions. John here, Santec, will ask questions for you in proxy. Yesterday I was here testing out all the stuff, and I was with Ryan, and we were looking at the NOC, and they have these nice screens. I went and talked to the guys in there. And one of the numbers I saw was really interesting was some of the data coming in San Jose and Dallas, right? Like where your locations are. 4 locations that they have. One of them was coming in at 450 megabits per second. I thought that was a pretty impressive number. For me, that was like, I've never seen anything that big. I remember when I was working on a project for Software for Starving Students, and I was using their X-Mission pipe at 5 megabits per second. I was so excited. I was torrenting out at 5 megabits per second. It was lots of fun. So. As it says here, my name is Clint Savage. I am the founder of the Utah Open Source Foundation. We kind of just decided we wanted to do this. We thought it was pretty fun to be geeks and come to Plug and come to Utah PHP Users Group or Augmented Area Linux Users Group, Ubuntu Utah, these sorts of things. And we thought, well, there's some really lacking things, some things that we thought were important. And we've talked about this before. I did at the conference. I did a little presentation about some of the history of Utah open source, where it came from. The Utah Open Source Coalition, or what was it called? Is that correct? There was like 6 names for it. We couldn't remember the names, but they all had UTOSC in the name. We took that and made it at the conference, but we decided that that was a really good idea, but it just didn't get invented well enough, and it really kind of fell flat, and so it's kind of defunct now. Jace is one of the founding members of that group, and so we did a little bit with that. In 2006, June, my backyard in Springville, which I don't live there anymore, but it was a nice, cool evening. Out there we were having, Jordan Gunderson was with us. He brought the...
board games?
No, he didn't bring board games. Unfortunately, he liked board games, but he brought cream cheese and this amazing cranberry or some sort of dip, and it was just really good. Anyway, we started talking about some of the cool things that we wanted to have in Utah open source and some of the cool things that we want you guys to be part of. And so this kind of put a little bug in my ear and a little planted the seeds for what we're going to be doing in the future. And the future's really here. We actually see some really cool benefits. How many people are here? 27? I mean, that's pretty good considering that what I heard previously, there was some times where there wasn't hardly anybody here. I mean, I think this is a really good bonus of what Utah Open Source has been able to do. One of the things that we did pull off this year is the conference. We had 201 attendees, show up. 201. A lot of people are interested in what open source can do for them. 35 presentations over 3 days. There was a lot of activity going on. I was running like a chicken with my head cut off. I was the guy behind the scenes trying to make sure everything was not falling all apart, and it was great. And we had a lot of fun with that. Starting last month, we started doing some streaming meetings. We're actually doing that this time. We're going to be trying to do that more. And by the end of 2008, we hope to do all the user groups. So that if you're home and you can't come to a meeting, we want you to be able to get that technology and learn about it. So this is one of those things that we want to do. We've got the bandwidth provided by our sponsor called Tier 4. We just had another meeting with another company. They emailed us today. They're like, when you heard about you're doing your streaming stuff, I was going to do that. And he said, I want to help you more. So we're looking to converse with him as well. So there's some really cool stuff. How many of you guys went to the conference? How many of you guys came to my presentation? Yeah, like 3 of you. That sounds about right. But there were some really cool presentations, right? Mine was weak, right? It was not nearly as good. And that's one of the things I want to talk about in a little bit.
It was also in BFE.
It was out in BFE. And that was the conference, the community room, right? Because the community is always out in BFE, so. We want to solve that. And what we're seeing is we are seeing growth. We are really seeing growth, especially on IRC channels, on the mailing lists. Bloggers are getting more excited. The planet.utosf.org or openclue.org, if you prefer, both exist, and Gabe's done a great job keeping that up. He's done everybody. If you're any of you are a blogger, get a hold of Gabe. He'll get you on there. That's Gabe right there.
It's gonna get better when I get time.
When you get time.
It's a little ugly.
We're gonna help Gabe get that better.
Where's Hackergotchis?
Yeah. Well, my hacker got you back.
And
So-
I promise you, it'll be something to behold.
So this is kind of my thing. This is kind of the thing for me is I like to network. I like to get people out and be excited about what's going on. And the thing for me is like things like Gabe's doing. I blog and I write stories about Fedora because I'm a Fedora ambassador and I love it and that sort of thing. And I also write stories about other stuff that I think are interesting. And I think it's lots of fun and we have lots of good things to talk about. A couple of things that Utah Open Source is doing for the community. One is called the Utah Open Source Collective. This is our community wiki. We're looking for more people to help contribute to it. It's going to be kind of like the Ubuntu Utah or the Ubuntu website where they have this collective of information that we want to gather. This is going to be local information. This isn't going to be about Ubuntu or about Fedora. It's going to be about what we're doing here and how we're growing. We've got some stuff up there already, and I'll show you guys that in just a minute. One of the other things that we want to do is we want to take this user group growth and we want to track it. We want to show people in the government, in the areas where we want to get this, so we can get sponsorships, we can get dollars. We're planning on some stuff. The Governor's Office of Economic Development, or GOED, has been talking with us actually, and we've been giving them monthly reports about what's going on in the groups. And we're wanting more. So hopefully if you guys help us with tracking this information, that'll help us as well. One of the things we're going to do, and I think Jace will hand this out later on, but we have a bunch of swag in here, so I'm going to pull this out. Let's see. Linux shirt catch. Oh, he gave.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got the toys? So you got another shirt now, Gabe. Give it to someone else because I know you have
All I
one.
need is another extra large shirt.
That's what I figured. So I was trying to throw it a little farther, but we have lots of swag and other stuff. So I'll be throwing out stuff more on in the back. And apparently now we have 2 recordings, so this is fun. There's another video recorder in the back. This is even better. One of the things we are working on too is meeting locations. The Open Source Technology Center, Omniture, is doing a great job here with helping us get a facility where we can actually meet on a regular basis. I hope, from what they see tonight and from the things that are going on in the near future, we can get more groups like this and more companies to help us out with that. And that's something I'm really interested in. And Jace touched on this earlier, but we do fun things like this too, where we get to go shoot our fellow geeks, geek paintball. So hopefully you guys will come out on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. out at Jace's Field, Desert Edge Practice Field out in Eagle Mountain. I know it's a little drive, but it'll be worth it because you'll get to shoot me and Jace. Me.
Well, try it.
Yeah, you can try to shoot me too, but I hope you'll probably hit me. So this is kind of the idea behind it. Another thing that we're looking at and we're trying to figure out more about and these sorts of things is the business side. No, OSTC talked to me, and I talked to Shauna Theobald, who works over at the OSTC. She told me that since the conference, they've had 8 different businesses come to us, to come to them and say, look, we'd like to come and work in your building, do the incubated business for open source. We want to do that. So we're going to be able to expand the OSTC, hopefully, in the near future. And that's something that they got out of that. They're actually doing another conference, the Home Runs in IT Networking Conference. And because of the successes of the Utah Open Source Conference, they are going to be getting huge returns. And they were actually talking about how they're getting lots of people coming. This is something that's very big. And we're looking to do more with Knowledge Blue and other companies to help them grow and get the community involved with them, get them involved with the community, and give you guys some more feedback. Open Source TV has been provided by Knowledge Blue. They're the ones that are providing the video for all of the Utah Open Source Conference presentations. So I hope you guys feel like this is some of the fun stuff that's coming out and that sort of thing. Another thing that we're going to be doing, and this is very soon, I'm actually planning something for early in 2008. We're going to be having education weeks. Education weeks where 1 to 2 hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours a night for a week, we're going to try to train you on one cool topic. Or maybe it's a business open source topic. Maybe it's a Linux training thing. Maybe it's PHP. Maybe it's Perl. I don't know. But we're looking at some experts and we're going to get them in here. We're going to pay them. We're going to make it really low cost, 30 or 40 bucks for the entire week. We're hoping to do that very, very soon. Yeah.
So this is like a series of evening courses?
Yeah. I'm actually going to do a Saturday course for 4 weeks very soon in January, I believe, on the fundamentals of, well, actually it's the Red Hat, get you prepared for a Red Hat exam or something like that. That's my plan. I don't know the exact specifics yet, but something along those lines. And hopefully we can do something in that area. It'll be a lot of fun. And I think that'll be a really easy way to do it cheap and inexpensive. We'll bring somebody in for a week and have them present and talk to you guys about labs, and you bring your laptop and try to make things work, things like that. Or maybe we'll even get facilities from places like Google Labs who have training facilities in that area. They're interested in doing more as well. Higher education, one of the things that's lacking is open source in schools. I'm big on this. I want to sell it. I want more with open source in schools. Software for Starving Students, which I do have a few of those up here if you guys are interested in them. It's a CD you just give out to your friends, and they can stick it in their CD-ROM, and it plays on Mac or Windows, and they can introduce to open source or free software that's out there they can just use. Like things like Thunderbird and Celestia and all these cool games that are out there that kids can actually learn about open source and free software this way. This is one of those things that we're trying to do. We're trying to get open source promotion into the computer science curriculums and things like that into higher education as well. I know there are other efforts for this. We're going to try to combine with some of those as well. Here's one that I think that everybody in this room will enjoy.
$1,000 for every baby, yeah!
Yeah, $1,000 for every baby. Utah Open Source, the family. I view Utah as a very family-oriented, very excited family-oriented, right? $1,000 for every baby is a good example. And we're going to do something with that with Utah Open Source Conferences coming in 2008. We're going to have a family track. Emily Shaw back in the back there. You can stand up, Emily, or wave. She's going to be our cornerstone. She's going to teach digital scrapbooking and open source tools. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some really cool stuff with this. Bring your wife, right? Bring your kids. We're going to bring up some Edubuntu stuff one day.
Yeah, what if you're not married?
If you're not married, bring your girlfriend. That's an encouragement, right? Because we're geeks, we know, hey, I'm single, I don't have a girlfriend either. I know your pain, I really do. So this is one of those things that I'm really excited about. I really think that a lot of people will be interested in. We're going to try to pull off on a Saturday where we invite you and your family members to come. As long as you pay for an admission, your family members can come and participate in the conference. We'll have games for kids, we'll have movies, probably things like that, where we can talk about Myth TV and how to set it up, things like this. I think this will be really cool. We're looking to do this. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I really wanted to get out there. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I heard Windows. Wait a minute.
That's you, John, isn't it?
Close. I'm on Suzu.
Yeah, Susie, that's Windows. Almost there. It's a remix. I'm not going to go there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to have each of my core team, we actually designed a core team, come up and talk for a couple minutes about what they do. Just a simple little, hi, I'm this, and this is what I want to do with the core team. We're going to try to get people involved in a user group by user group basis. We're going to try to get people involved in a individual basis. If you're interested in joining our core team or helping us out with any of these things, please come talk to us, Jace or myself, and we'll get that sorted out. The first person we're going to have you come up is Emily Shaw. She's back there. We already introduced her. Come on.
Hi.
She's our team coordinator and our designer. For those of you who don't know, she designed our T-shirts for this last year. So if you haven't seen the T-shirts, and Jace is wearing one, they are the awesome T-shirts that she designed. She also designed the logos and everything else. The one that's up here, she did not design. That was my crappy work. So you like my work?
I like it.
Horrible. I think it's bad. But anyway, so
Make sure you pay double instead of twice.
You know what? I get nothing. I'm just kidding. Like you said, I'm kind of the team coordinator. I'm trying to keep everybody organized, to talking to each other. Clint gives out so many assignments and doesn't remember them, so I'm kind of his personal secretary, just making sure that things... you're telling me. Just making sure that things get taken care of and everybody keeps on track. I'm also the little accountant girl, trying really hard to keep that straight. And
She's probably the reason that this has never worked before.
she's making it work.
Right.
Yes, I agree. She's the glue that keeps us together.
Yeah, let's
It
just
really
hope
is.
it's not So let's see, what else do I do? at all. I
You
can't
look
remember.
pretty.
You ordered pizza.
I didn't order pizza tonight though.
It's actually me.
Fail.
It was somebody else's fault that I wasn't here in time. So.
We'll meet him later.
So, and I think that's just about it for me, and working on more stuff for this upcoming conference. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Will Smith. Yes, that's his real name. You'll notice I also put their nicknames up here for IRC peers. If you're interested, these are the nicknames of the people on IRC. So if you're interested in chatting with them about anything, Will's our systems administrator. He's learning on the job.
Yep, because I don't know anything. So basically, I do whatever he says. We do these shared screen sessions. He says, no, type it like this, and then he'll type it out, and I have to retype it, which really gets annoying sometimes.
I think this is the reason that this has never worked out. Oh, never mind.
No problem, that's the truth. No, I appreciate it. No, one thing that I just enjoy the whole open source idea, and I've loved learning a lot. I think Clint does a great job with the helping educate stuff. He and I set up the streaming server on UTOSF. .org and got that going, and been able to set up a few things. So that's fun. We're working right now on a shared calendar where everybody's calendar can all be together, like the plug and Slug and Ubuntu Utah and UPHP, and all this can have one huge calendar, so you can kind of look in one spot for all the open source going on. We're kind of working on that. It should be, I think, a good addition to the community.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. This is Victor. Victor Villa. He's actually the UPHPU president. So don't boo him if you're a Perler.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Victor has actually got some history with editorial stuff, and actually wrote a paper himself when he was in college. And so we're going to be using him for some of the development and media stuff.
Yes, this is true.
So,
I was so the newsletter. The newsletter is going to take fragments from different groups, put it all together so that we're all informed as a community. I think there's a lot of commonality. I think there's a lot of, I think we want to learn more about what's happening in other groups so that we can branch off into those areas, add that to our skill set, and make us that much more valuable. And that's, I think, the direction that Clint's going with that, and that's the direction I'm taking that position. And just a quick plug, if this isn't for Perl people, but if you do want to go to a geek lunch, we're having one tomorrow at Applebee's, you can ask, I'm kidding, Perls can come too. You can ask Joseph Scott. What usually happens is right after our UPHPU meetings, we all just march over to Applebee's, about 15, 20 of us. We sit there, we actually wait until they kick us out, and then we mill around the parking lot and talk until about 1:32 in the morning about everything and anything. Code.
if you can stay up that late.
If you can stay up that late. And a lot of us do. We're out there milling around. So it's way good time. Please feel invited to come. It's just the Applebee's in Draper. We usually hit it like at between 8:30 and 9. If you come to the meet, you'll know. If you jump in the IRC, we'll tell you. So.
Thanks for that. So our next guest is the cause of Emily's delay. His name is Stephen Shaw. He's back in the back. He's going to be doing some of the sponsorship for us, and he's been working with community members. And maybe you ought to talk a little bit about the Home Runs in IT conference and what we're doing for them, and then just that area. So.
Actually, as far as the Home Runs in IT, basically, it's OSTC doing a hiring fair, recruiting fair on Novell property. So it's called Home Runs in IT to mask the fact that it's a recruiting fair. They don't want more low morale employees leaving. So, but it should be pretty good. Several presenters.
Omniture sponsored a booth, right? Or
yeah, Omniture did. Phil, are you presenting at that, I think?
Yes, I am actually. I didn't know the name of it, but December 6th I am presenting, yes.
Now you know the name of the conference.
Now I know where I'm doing it.
So Utah Open Source is also a sponsor in trade.
Yeah, I do actually have a free, the way it's set up is it's $35, but for ex-Novell employees, user groups, UVSC, BYU, it's basically students. So it's pretty hard not to get in for free. Well, I have discount codes, so if anyone wants one, come talk to me. I can pass one on. I have one for the plug. I'll pass it on to you, and then I'll pass it on whichever ones. That's Home Runs in IT. As far as sponsorships, I just want your money. So if you work for a company that's open source related or whatever, it'd be great to have them sponsor us this year. I don't know if we fully set down what the sponsorships will be and what each bracket and so on. Get that organized. Hopefully we'll get that up sooner than later. But yeah, if you know of a company or whatever, just contact me on Decryptor on IRC or sshaw@decryptor.com.
Or UTOSF.org.
Or UTOSF.org, that's right. So whichever one, just contact me, send me the contact information. That's about it.
Thanks, Stephen. One of the things that Stephen's going to be doing for us, and I haven't really talked about the details on it, I'm going to let Jace do it in a second, but we're going to let John go first unless you don't want to come up here.
I'll come.
You're going to come be our developer, John?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll come. It won't be in mono.
You can be in mono if you want it to be.
I'm John Anderson, SoTech Online. I did all the event registration website and everything for the Utah Open Source Conference. So, like, all that was me. And then now we're just building a bunch of different widgets. Like, we're trying to build, like, Gabe has the planet, but we want to build a planet for, like, a calendaring system so that all these different user groups, Plug, Slug, Ubuntu, like, they can come together and they can just post, like, all their calendars, like, we're having a meeting here, we're having paintball here. And that's just, like, one of the things that we're trying to develop so we can bring the community together. So, like, I'll just be doing all that stuff, and if you guys have any ideas of, like, what's missing in the community and, like, you want to come together, if you want to help me, like, our other developers, PHP, I usually do mono, so we're probably going to do Python so that, you know,
we want to use all the technologies there are. Yeah. We are deploying. We also are deploying every Linux distro we can find.
Yeah.
So we'll be deploying Fedora and Ubuntu and SUSE and everything too. So along with doing every development platform.
I also format once a week. No.
Once a month.
Well, it depends.
Oh, okay. Thanks, John. And John is a very good developer. He did a lot of work on the conference software, so we appreciate it. Our last speaker, and I'm actually going to let him talk for about 5 or 10 minutes, is Jace. I'm interested in him because one of the things that I want to do, and for me, is important. I kind of want to be in the background. I don't really want to be up here presenting all the time, so I'm going to make Jace do it. And he's offered to take that role on. And so come on up, Jason, and talk a little bit about the future of Utah open source.
So definitely, you've heard a lot of things that, you know, we've been talking about what we want to do or what we kind of have done, and really want to bring that to the forefront. You know, talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening and why. Really, when we talk about it, I mean, there were several groups over the past few years that met together and talked about, you know, hey, we're in Utah. How do we get open source to go farther than it is? How do we get people working together? With Plug, you know, I've worked with several people in the area. How can we get Plug to be better for its members? What can we bring to the members as well as to the community? And, you know, for a long time, I started getting with like Mark up at Slug and some of the other different people, and that's how we started the original UTOSC. And really, last year we saw so much come to fruition. I mean, the conference really showed us how much people want, and we wanted to prove that next year can be that much more. A few of the things that touched is we really want to focus as a group how we can make the groups better. So some of the things we did, like we mentioned, you know, we were getting sponsorships or we're creating tools. We want to be able to take this to the members. You know, UTOS itself isn't a group you're going to be attending. It's just a few people that are trying to contribute to help their own groups, such as Plug. Some of the different things we have, like, you know, if you come up afterwards, of course, we've got the Ubuntu discs, which Ubuntu Utah helps with, or we've got some of the Linux shirts we've gotten from sponsors and other fun tools. And some other stuff we want to talk about is through the sponsors, we're able to make things like the conference much nicer, but we're also able to fund things throughout the year. And one of the points we want to bring up is UTOS is trying to take that sponsorship money and dedicate at least 25% of it into individual group generation. So helping groups like Plug with things they might need. So one example, brought tonight is a new router that's donated. This is Plug's individual router, so we will always have our own wireless at every meeting, no matter where we are.
That's for Ryan and Plug. So
that's right. And that's one little example of things we're trying to do. Other things are making sure that we can pay to bring in a speaker and make sure all the different groups know about it. Or maybe one group is having a really good speaker and that person's willing to maybe present a little more. You know, we did this a few times a few years back where Mark and I would often trade our speakers. He'd come down and present at Plug and he'd have whatever I presented that month and do it up at Slug again. Well, we want that to be actually spread around a little more. You know, maybe one of the UPHPU speakers talks about something with MySQL that really helps them out, but you know, there's another audience that might want to hear that. Maybe the UVSC group really needs to hear that exact same thing, and the speaker's willing to go. Well, we want to facilitate that, and that's where we need some of the different people. You know, showing up here, we're introducing it, but now we need people who are members of Plug who want to step forward and say, hey, I can help Plug out with this, but also I'm willing to spend time to help that go to other places. I'm making myself available to the community because the community is helping me. Some of the other tools we mentioned, like we're really trying to make sure we are a central source. So there's connectivity between all the groups in, like I mentioned, the calendaring, you know, or the plan. We really want everybody to know what's going on in the state, and not just as UTOS or as open source users, but also the businesses. Different groups, you know, a lot of us maybe are trying to start our own business. Maybe we're doing side consulting, and we really should be able to help each other out. You know, a few people know I do a lot of, say, billing work with Perl. Maybe that's something your company needs, but on the same hand, maybe I need a designer, and that's what you do. We should have our own community. We should know about each other's skills and be able to pass that along. And that's part of what we're hoping to make available to everybody here. Any questions about what UTOS does? So some of the other little points we want to touch on for the next year. We definitely want to focus on next year's conference. We really enjoyed this year. We definitely think we can double what we're going to have next year, both in terms of sponsorships. What do people bring to it? You know, we had a great sponsorship from Google, but we know next year they're probably going to be more interested. There's also local companies who wants to get their name out and spread the word to the different programmers, developers, or business users in the area. But also to all of us, you know, hey, what features, what topics were the hottest ones? How can we expand on them? What do you want to find out? Have we actually officially announced the topic?
know what you can.
All right, so next year, like last year, we had the convergence. We really tried to bring in the concept of business as well as open source, bring them together. And then next year, we realized we want a little bit different topic. So the theme of next year's conference is how to. So we are basically going to have everyone help bring themes of really teaching people how to accomplish a specific task they want. That way, the local business or the local people can actually know or figure out an end objective that they need to meet. Last year, maybe we had some really fun ones that taught us theoretically, or maybe some concepts of database design or concepts of what a Myth TV was. But really, a lot of people wanted to be able to come there and find out, how do I use Myth TV to accomplish, to make my wife happy, right? So that's something that we're really going to be focusing on this next year. So you guys as community members can definitely step up and start thinking, hey, here's a topic that I would like to learn about, or here's one that I know how to present. If you get an idea, we'll be putting a call to papers real soon. So start thinking about that topic, and that's something that you guys can do to help the community, but also that you can suggest to be able to help yourselves. So,
when do you think the conference will take place next year?
Late August.
Yeah, we're still planning around the same time, late August type area. So people hopefully aren't on vacation so much anymore, but not thrown into heavy schoolwork or anything like that. For those who are in school or just back from their family vacations.
Is it going to be at the same venue?
Actually, we are researching venues right now. Foz has been helping with that. We have several people who, from last year, stepped forward and said, hey, we have a great facility. We would love to host you. So we're researching with them right now. And some of the other entities, like you mentioned, the Office of the Governor, working with like Chamber of Commerce, many of them are starting to step forward out of the success of last year and really want to help us out. So we're looking at possibly a larger venue, able to hold people a little better and not have the BFE room, way out there. Any other questions? All right. Yep.
Well, big thanks to the Utah Open Source Foundation for coming out and talking to us tonight. I think it's really important for all of us to remember that we are open source. We as a community and as individuals make up that community. And we're in a position right now where I think a lot of you are starting to recognize it, and I know for myself I'm recognizing it, that I can sense that we're part of something bigger. I can sense that we're starting to hit a synergistic rise in the way that businesses view us, the way that the community views us. So I hope that we can all support the Utah Open Source Foundation and support Plug. It's kind of interesting. When 5 people come to a meeting or 6 people come to a meeting, it's really hard to get a presenter. When 15 people or 20 people want to come to the meetings and we have that sort of regular attendance, all of a sudden the number of people who are interested in presenting skyrockets, and we have to beat them off. So no, you're not good enough. So if you want to have a really great group and you want to take advantage of what Plug and the Utah Open Source Foundation has to offer, we need your participation. And Plug is free. The only thing you need to do with Plug is participate. So continue to work with the mailing list. Hang out in IRC. Check out the website. Maybe join the LinkedIn group if you're not already on it. Come to the meetings and participate.
Will you actually take donations, though?
No, I don't think so. No, if you gave me money, I'd be like, here, I don't want it.
Yeah, we sometimes ask for people to buy pizza or something.
No, we tell them to give it to you guys. We don't have any facilities to handle. Because the second that you take money, you have to file tax things.
Oh yeah, we can do that for you.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
Your tax
That was part
filter.
of the original purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, a big thanks to Clint and his crew. And we'd like to go ahead and sort of wrap up our meeting up here. And what we're going to do is head out to the living room, what Omniture calls the living room, which is the couches and the pool table down there. And we have some drinks down there. Pizza should be down there. We want you to relax, shoot some pool. The only rule is that the spiral staircase that goes up to the Xboxes, we can't go up there because we don't want you to break your leg and get hurt. So, so don't go up there. But everything else is at your disposal. So with that, let's go ahead and adjourn to the living room. Great.
If people want, like you mentioned, we do have